exclusively for Black women, by Black women. Wonders of a Black Woman TV, streaming on Roku, podcast on Spotify. Wonders of a Black Woman. Our story, our voices. Visit www.wondersofablackwoman.com. There's a movie that I really would like you all to see. It's the United States versus Billie Holiday. And I know that in the news, it's a lot of talk about the backlash and racism that Asians are experiencing because of some ignorant racist people want to take the pandemic out on a whole race of people. And my heart goes out to the Asian community. You're experiencing what Black people in this country have experienced from the moment they were brought over here on slave ships. Just because, and you're not really experiencing half of what we experienced. To be targeted by individuals because of the way you were naturally born to look, your race, is unacceptable on so many levels. But when you have a government that is conspiring to oppress you and terrorize you because of your race, it's a level of evil that is rarely experienced by any other race of people. And I haven't seen any other race of people experience, other than the Jews during the Holocaust. I've never seen this level of supernatural evil and demonic hatred towards humanity. And the movie, directed by Lee Daniels, U.S. versus Billie Holiday, is a perfect example of racists in the United States government using the United States government and government systems to target, harass, attack, murder, incarcerate Black people. Now, this is a biography.com article, Billie Holiday, How the Government Targeted the Strange Fruit Singer with Drug Arrests. The Federal Bureau of Narcotics relentlessly pursued Holiday, the chase largely fueled by Commissioner Harry Anslinger's biases, his racial biases. This is a Rachel Chang article, February 26, 2021, biography.com, if you care to look it up. In 1939, Billie Holiday rode the service elevator in Midtown Manhattan Hotel on her way to sing on stage. Of course, the hotel had a front door, but Holiday wasn't allowed to use it. Why? Because she was Black. Little did she know this was just the beginning of the troubles that would follow her that night. Holiday stuck to her set list, including singing Strange Fruit, a hauntingly emotional song against lynching with lyrics like Southern trees bear strange fruit, blood on the leaves, and blood at the root. Black bodies swinging in the southern breeze, strange fruit hanging from the poplar trees. Her self-described way of being able to sing like an instrument made the performance particularly effective. But that night, she received a warning from the Federal Bureau of Narcotics, a government agency which lasted from 1930 to 1968. She was never to sing that song again. The link between the song and the anti-drug agency may feel disjointed, except the FBN Commissioner Harry Anslinger drew a direct correlation. To Harry Anslinger, Billie Holiday was the symbol of everything that America had to be afraid of. John Harry wrote the book Chasing the Scream, the first and last days of the war on drugs, told WNYC. She had a heroin addiction because she had been chronically raped as a child, and she was trying to deal with the grief and the pain of that. And also, she was resisting white supremacy. And when she insisted on continuing on her right as an American citizen to sing Strange Fruit, Anslinger resolves to destroy her. So here it is, you have this racist idiot with a little bit of power that is insisting that this lady not sing a song. These races insist, you have to look at the history of what this government allowed these lunatics to do to black people. They made it illegal for us to learn how to read and write. And here it is in the 1930s, this idiot, racist, is trying to tell this lady that she can't sing a song. Why can't she sing that song? Because it yanks the curtain back on white supremacy and it lets people feel uncomfortable. White people. They don't care if black people feel uncomfortable. They don't want white people to feel uncomfortable that other whites are running around slaughtering and murdering black people. They don't want to look at the evil that is within. So he used his power of government. That's why you have to be careful who you give power to. Especially when you march your little black asses in the voting booth. Do you really know who it is you're voting for? And what role they play in modern day harassment of black people through the laws? Through crime bills? Through legislation? Anslinger was widely known as an extreme racist in the 1920s. For this man to be known as an extreme racist, he had to be one of the worst of the worst. When Anslinger first took on the role in the new agency that was part of the Treasury Department, he was determined to eradicate all drugs everywhere. He had previously been part of the Department of Prohibition, but since the prohibition had been abolished, he was more determined than ever to take a strict stance on drugs. Now, the government comes in and makes some of these drugs illegal because they want to purposely target blacks and Hispanics, especially when they criminalize marijuana. And it's disheartening that we have a president today that still doesn't want to decriminalize marijuana on a federal level, when you consider the fact that it was criminalized with the intent of targeting minorities in the first place. Now, this article goes on to say how he used black informants to wiggle into Billie Holiday's inner circle and to get information on her so they can bust her with drugs. It says, so the controversial nature of Strange Fruit among the musicscape at the time gave him the excuse he needed to go after Holiday. This was not a time when there were political pop songs. And to have an African American woman standing in the front of a white audience singing a song against white supremacy and its violence was viscerally shocking at the moment. Because you're not supposed to make a white person feel bad. It's okay if you feel bad. It's okay if you're killed. It's okay if your family member is drug out of the house, raped, beaten, killed, genitals cut off and everything. But you can't make them feel bad for doing it. You can't make them feel like they're the savages. You can't make them feel like they're the Neanderthals, the primitive savages, for attacking people because of their race. And that's why they didn't want her singing the song. You look at the history books today where they really don't depict the savagery of how this country was formed, of coming into this place where there were people already living and attacking and raping and killing them to take their land. And then going over to a nation, and instead of them working the land themselves, they go and get people from another continent, black people, and attack and rape and kill and force Africans to work the land and build this nation's wealth. And build many white families' generational wealth that a lot of them benefit from still today. This government. So when people say that blacks are owed reparations by the United States government, it is owed reparations. Because if it wasn't for black people, this nation would not have the wealth that it has. You robbed black people of their rightful right to be paid for their labor and to own property, and just all of the harassment that happened as a result of how this government allowed black people to be treated in this country. They didn't want blacks to read and write. They didn't want you to get paid for your labor. They didn't want you to sit at a counter. They didn't want you to come through a front door. They didn't want this lady to even sing a song because it made them feel bad that these savage racists were running around doing what savages do: rape, kill, and abuse other people. So it really, even her husband joined in to work with the FBI to set her up. You know, she really has an interesting story. She spent about a year in jail being set up on these drug charges. And what really shocked me, because I knew about Billie Holiday's music when I was a child, and I loved her music. I never knew this aspect of her life and the whole story behind the Strange Fruit song. So anyway, the end of this article, it says that Anslinger continued to pursue Holiday in the hospital. One day in 1959, Holiday collapsed and was sent to the hospital, and she feared Anslinger wasn't done with her yet, even after she was diagnosed with liver disease. So she's very ill, and she goes into heroin withdrawal because she's not given any in the hospital, Harry said. And Maylie Duffy, her friend, managed to insist that she was given methadone. And she began to recover. Obviously, heroin withdrawal is very dangerous if you're extremely physically weak, as she was. And then Holiday's worry came true. Anslinger's team arrested her on her hospital bed. This maniac is pursuing her to her a hospital bed. And as we'll see, even on her deathbed, this racist maniac is just so tunnel vision on hurting this woman. So this maniac pursues her. Obviously, heroin withdrawal is very dangerous if you're extremely physically weak, as she was. And when Holiday's worry came true, Anslinger's team arrested her on her hospital bed. So they had her chained to her hospital bed while she was sick, okay? It sort of was like the last straw that the public or the system could do to her. And I think that really took the heart out of her. Holiday's friend Alice said. It became clear what was happening, and protests were even held outside the hospital as people carried signs saying, "Let Lady Day live," referring to her by her nickname. But after 10 days, the methadone was cut off on Anslinger's instruction. She was in very bad shape. I could see on her face and in her whole condition that she wasn't well. On July 17th, 1959, Holiday died. So this racist animal insisted that these other racist animals in the hospital take her off the methadone, and then she ended up dying. So when I hear about more black women dying in childbirth lately, and more blacks dying of COVID, and all of these other things, and how many people remember the video of the black doctor who was in the hospital because of COVID, and she was saying how she's a doctor and she knows her stuff, and these people know that she's a doctor, and they're not giving her proper care. How much today is racism still affecting our lives? Even when it comes to medical care, schooling, policing, everything. A racist will turn anything that they touch into a weapon against their object of hate. So when people say in today's modern day systems in America aren't racist, maybe it may not be the system, maybe it's the people that's running those systems that make them biased and racist. Anslinger reportedly was satisfied writing, for her, there would be no more Good Morning Heartache. But see, he couldn't stop that song from being played. Even people in today's modern day society are still hearing the song Strange Fruit. You know, he just harassed this woman literally to death. He had succeeded in his decades-long pursuit to take down Holiday, a task fueled by his own racist views. Case in point, he addressed Judy Garland's drug addiction by telling her to take longer vacations. And in September 1962, Anslinger was even honored by President John F. Kennedy for his work on the war on drugs. So you see the difference in the criminal justice system, even back then, how it was used to manipulate society and manipulate to get those black bodies in jail. No different than it is today. And you have people like Joe Biden, who was all too willing, and the people in Congress and Senate that went along with it, that was all too willing to keep playing the game in modern times. And Joe Biden and Kamala Harris has no intentions whatsoever in correcting those wrongs, because it feeds white supremacy, and that is the God that they serve. I know I'm a black woman. I'm supposed to hoo-hoo, raise the roof that Kamala Harris is the vice president, and clap, clap, clap for her. But it's not about you getting in power that impresses me. It's about what you do with that power. While Holiday unfairly met her end, her legacy and determination transcend today. We're at a point now where we applaud anything like, oh, such and such person took a stance, Griffin said. They aren't going to get the hit that Billie Holiday got. They aren't going to go to prison because they sang a song, right? So I think it's important to remember that she did that when the cost and the consequences were much higher and much harsher. And it is the truth. Colin Kaepernick and different people that are standing up today for justice and things like that, they may get harassed in some sort of way. They may, I believe that they do. But it's not like it was in Billie Holiday's time. You have to remember, in Billie Holiday's time, they were lynching, they would pull every member in the house and lynch even the babies. These people were cutting black men's genitals off and saving it as souvenirs. These people were brutally burning black people alive, hanging them. And sometimes they would even bring innocent little white children to stand and watch them do this. So if you wonder why we're still experiencing racism today, a racist has no problem with brainwashing a child. If a racist has no problem with murdering a black child, a racist isn't going to have a problem with brainwashing a white child. And that white child will grow up and brainwash their child, and that's why it carries on and on and on. These people pass this disease down the same way Christians passed down Christianity and Jesus walked the earth 2,000 years ago. They pass racism down like it is a religion. The God they serve is not a good one, that's for sure. There's something very, in my opinion, something awfully just demonic, the way these people are laser focused on hurting black people just because we're black. I want you guys to go see United States versus Billie Holiday. It's on Hulu.
I'm downright flashy, you know.
This is Shannon. You've been listening to and watching Wonders of a Black Woman.
Reporters keep asking me, Billie, why you do the things you do? This is what I tell them. I love me. We love you.
NAACP says Billie Holiday is the voice of our people.
I think we should integrate the audience with this show. Let's change it up a little bit. You know, blacks and whites sitting together.
You knew what you were getting yourself into when you decided to come on the road.
Get out my goddamn clothes.
I'm gonna take everything except your bra and your pants.
Which one of my songs is your favorite song?
Strange Fruit.
It's a song about important things, you know. Things that are going on in the country.
This holiday woman is causing a lot of people to think the wrong things.
It's a starting gun for this so-called civil rights movement.
Those lyrics provoke people.
Y'all got a plan? She's a drug addict.
Exactly. I cut Strange Fruit.
I want to sing the damn song.
It's for your own good, okay?
I sing it the fuck I want. Southern trees.
Get her off that stage.
They're strange fruit. Hey, won't let me sing nowhere. No clubs, no money, no nothing. You gotta understand, baby. Right now, I'm in a situation.
But you say we could beat this, Billie?
I need some now. Blood on the leaves.
You're like a hammer. Come right back and hit harder than before.
She's singing it for all of us. Ain't no other Negro star bold enough to do it.
Black bodies swinging.
I'm being followed.
I'm not gonna cower to no fence. In the southern breeze.
She's made something of herself and you can't take it because she's strong, beautiful, and black.
Strange fruit hanging from the poplar trees. You think I'm gonna stop singing that song? Your grandkids will be singing Strange Fruit. A strange fruit, blood on the leaves, and blood at the root. Black bodies swinging in the southern breeze. Strange fruit hanging from the poplar trees. Pastoral scene of the gallant South, the bulging eyes and the twisted mouth, scent of magnolia, sweet and fresh. Then the sudden smell of burning flesh. Here is a fruit for the crows to pluck, for the rain to gather, for the wind to suck, for the sun to rock, for the tree to drop. Here is a strange and bitter